I'm going to show you how to do a bodyweight squat and also how not to do a bodyweight squat. So, squat. Very, very basic, fundamental movement. We do it a lot when we're bending over, when we're picking stuff up. And if you've ever been on a manual handling course, they'll tell you, don't lift with your back, lift with your legs. And obviously a lot of people put their back out, as I've done several times myself. Even being as fit and strong as I am, I've still put it out. But the better we can get at movements like the squat, the more efficient we're going to be in life. So, if your coach hasn't corrected you already, there should be. So here's how not to do a squat. Yeah, seen it all. But the thing is, if you've never been shown, you'll not know, right? But here's the first common mistakes is people lift off their heels and feel wobbly. Yeah, and they press through their tiptoes, right? That's not a proper squat. If you're stretching out for a warm-up, or you're about to do some duck walks, or maybe you're doing some yoga or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that might be a move that you'll use. However, for a bodyweight squat, your feet want to be flat into the floor. Your heels pressed in, so a little cue could be screw your heels into the floor. So when you push, if you imagine screw your heels into the floor, you squeeze your butt cheeks together. Yeah. Also, you can press down with your big toe, and then your feet will be nice and flat and grip to the floor. Now, the squat is a maximal hip bend, i.e. your hips go back a lot and your knees bend as much as they can. So with your chest, what tends to happen is when the people push the hips back, they bend forward, yeah? Okay, and then when they bend the knees, this happens. And some people are stuck in this position, right? There's a few reasons why that happens. We'll go into that, yeah? But if I just demonstrate a couple of strong bodyweight squats, I'll give you a few cues on what you can do to improve it. So if I was bodyweight squatting, this is how I would do it, personally. So, there's a few things going on in there. I'm not just dropping into that. Obviously, if I'd never done this before, you probably wouldn't just pick it up like that. There'd be a few cues that I'd mention to correct your form and your technique. So, if you think about your chest position, most people tend to, like I say, because we're pushing the hips back mostly, yes, that's what we're doing in a squat. We're not just bending with knees forward. That's a common mistake. That's why we often lift off our heels, yeah, and we don't understand the hip bend in it. So we stick with hips back and we bend with knees at the same time. Therefore, I've got quite good mobility, so I can get down all the way. The deeper you can squat, the better, yeah. You don't want to be squatting really like this. If that's as far as you can go, we really need to improve your mobility. You need to get as low as you can and stand up. So, my chest, what happens when you tuck back is the chest automatically obviously gets pulled down. So, imagine you've got some string attached to your rib cage and somebody, the puppet master upstairs, is pulling it high. So you look forward, or you can direct your eyes up to the sky. So when you do squat, you keep your chest up high. Yeah, you don't want it to duck down because then you're likely to lean forward, let the knees come up and not get as much depth in your squat. So keep your chest up high, okay? That's the first cue, keep your chest up high. Now, stick your hips back as far as you can and bend your knees as far as you can. Now, what happens with the knees is everybody's going to be different in terms of where their foot position should be. Mine is around probably a 10 to 2. If I was to look down and see my toes there on a clock face, I would be about 10 to 2. Some people might be 5 to 1, and some people could even be near 12 o'clock. Depends on your body and what works for you. In terms of foot position, now it depends on what you do. And some people work well with a narrow stance. I do personally, which is sort of like my hips and my feet right underneath my hips. Some people work better with a slightly wider stance, right? Now you can do wide stance squats, which is what we call sumo squats, which is the wide position with the toes turned out, so you're working more inner thighs, sides of the butt cheeks, keeping your knees open, right? But in terms of foot positioning, it's going to be about you trying a few things till you find what's comfortable and where you can importantly get the most depth, because that's important. So like I say, for me, naturally, I sit in about a 10 to 2, feet under the hips, hips back, knees bent and down. Hand position. I usually keep my hands right underneath my chin, because what that forces me to do is keep my hands down, my chest up, and forcing to look forward, yeah? Rather than have out, and I'm tempted to see people pushing off with the hands to take the weight off their legs, right? That's just an easy way out. Do not touch your legs when you're squatting. It's completely cheating, okay? Keep your hands together. I wouldn't even put them on the hips. I would just personally put them together. You can stick them out at the front if you want, or above your head if you've got the mobility to do that, but personally the most comfortable place is right into the chin there, yeah? So this is the basic simplicity of a bodyweight squat. Now, why can't some people squat low? Well, there's a few reasons for that. Obviously in life, we're doing this all day, every day, sitting at a desk, driving the car, sitting on the sofa, sitting. We never usually get to this part, do we? So it's no wonder after years of conditioning to be in this place, all the muscles have seized up in our legs, our hips are tight, but more so, see the ankles? The ankles only does this, or maybe it does that, right? It doesn't do this, yes? So the ankles get tight. So when people's ankles are tight, they can't get the depth of the squat often. So a very easy way to remedy that often is to quite obviously, stretches are great, but put something under the heel, a little plate, a little block of wood or whatever. As long as you're stable and you're not wobbly on your feet, that slight heel raise will really help with getting more depth in your squat. Now, once you've had a few good reps of the bodyweight squat, hopefully you can reach about 90, if not more, i.e. 90 degrees as in a sitting position, yeah? 90 degrees here. If you can reach that depth, great. That should be your absolute minimum where you get. Okay, if you can get all the way, fantastic. Keep your chest up high, nice good posture. Now, there's a basic good form bodyweight squat. Now to progress it and to make it even better, you could grab a kettlebell. Now, this is what we call a goblet squat. Now you can hold the kettlebell that way, right into the chin so you can lick it, or to improve your technique, I'll probably recommend grabbing both horns and having the elbows down, keeping it right into the chin. Because what this does is with the weight being at the front, it forces you can't tilt because it'll drag you down. It forces you to keep a good posture. It also encourages the knees to stay apart. So you come down, you try and get your elbows down to slide past your knees. Keep your knees apart, keep your chest up and drive up, yeah? So your core's tight in this. It's what we call a goblet squat, sorry. As we come down, everything's got to be tight and up again, yeah? And we've got to kind of look forward as well, yeah? So if we're looking down, we're just going to tilt, then the kettlebell's going to come down. So it drives you into really good form and really good technique. Holding onto the bell, sitting down low, keeping your knees apart, chest up, gripping things nice and tight. Obviously, this is 12 kilo. Start light, work your way up, right? You should be able to do a good 30, 40, 50 bodyweight squats before you start trying to squat really heavy weight on a back squat or a front squat. So in the next video we're going to show, this is where we'll go into the technique of a back squat. So I hope you've enjoyed that.